Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to answer the question, should you buy Vancouver real estate now or should you wait? If this is your first time to the channel, my name is Hassan. I'm a real estate agent in the Vancouver area, and I make educational videos as well as videos to help you make your move to Vancouver. If that sounds of interest to you, consider subscribing to this channel and hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss a future video. And if you yourself are looking to move to the Vancouver area, I've been so fortunate to help many people do it through this channel. Would love to do the same for you. All my contact info is in the description box. So whether or not you should buy real estate now or buy it later is one of the most burning questions in the market right now. If you're following the market at all, you have heard and noticed that real estate sales are down and prices have been trending downward since peaks of February, March of this year. So the first thing I want to do is show you some data from the real estate board for both Metro Vancouver and the Fraser Valley. What you see in this chart here is you see Vancouver West and you see Vancouver East. Vancouver West will be in green, Vancouver East in blue. When we look at the average price of all product types, we're looking at a peak of 1.386 million in March. That's for Vancouver West. Now, October's average price was 1.276, so we're down approximately 8% off of the peaks. For Vancouver East in blue, the peak was 1.258 million, also in March. October's average price was 1.127, down approximately 10%. Now I also want to show you Burnaby's chart, being Vancouver's closest neighbor to the east. So here's what's going on in Burnaby. Burnaby is broken down into three segments: Burnaby North, Burnaby South, and Burnaby East. You're going to see North in green, you're going to see South in blue, and you're going to see East in orange. The Burnaby North average price peaked in May at 1.079 million. Again, this is for all product types combined. October's price was 994,000, so down approximately 8%. Burnaby South in blue peaked in April at 1.187 million. October's price was 1.064 million, down about 9%. And Burnaby East peaked in March at 1.23 million. October's price was 1.126 million, down approximately 8.5%. So you can see that purchasing today versus the peaks of earlier this year, you'd be saving anywhere from 8 to 10% for the most part off of the peaks. Now, one of the reasons why real estate prices have come down, and one of the largest reasons, are the effect of interest rates on the market. So you'll see in the chart here that the raises of interest rates began by the Bank of Canada on March 2nd. We've had 6 raises since then, and our target rate now sits at 3.75%. Grand scheme of things, this is actually still a low interest rate, but we got spoiled with next to 0% interest rates during the period of COVID. So there has basically been a decrease in home values because people's buying power has decreased. So what's going to happen with interest rates on a move forward basis? The key that I'm looking at from the Bank of Canada, one thing that they've mentioned right from the start of this year is when it comes to raising interest rates, they were going to front load the path. In their words, front load the path. And what we've seen over the last couple of raises, we had a full 100 basis point raise. We had a 75 basis point raise. The last one was 50 basis points. I personally thought it was going to be larger than that, but it was 50 basis points. And not to say that the Bank of Canada is conceding the fight against inflation, but it looks like they're slowing this rate hiking cycle. I expect in December we're going to see another smaller raise and probably a wait and see approach into the next year. So next we're going to look at real estate supply, and this chart here is going to show you real estate inventory for the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver as well as Fraser Valley over the last 10 years. And what you're going to see is real estate has steadily trended downwards in terms of available product on the market. In Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver, down about 50% off of levels 10 years ago, and in the Fraser Valley, we're at about 2/3 the inventory we had 10 years ago. So there is becoming less and less real estate available for sale. From the development side of things, a lot of the developers are holding off on developing product right now. Housing starts were down about 23% in the first half of this past year in 2022 compared to the year before. So what has happened is a lot of these developers have purchased land at high peak prices, and they don't want to develop it out and have to pre-sell it or sell it at reduced prices. So from an inventory perspective, which again is the supply side of supply and demand, I don't foresee a big spike in inventory as we head into next year. I don't foresee a lot more options. What you might see is you might see some investors putting their investment properties on the market with inflation and with not being allowed to raise rents very high. I think some of these investors are going to say, look, I'm not sure whether I want to be a landlord right now. I'm going to put this on the market. So we may see some added inventory in Q1 or spring of this coming year. I don't personally think it's going to be a very significant amount, but time will tell. And so now we need to talk about the demand side of the equation. And the Liberal government just recently increased their immigration targets to Canada, and the plan is to invite 1.5 million immigrants to Canada over the next 3 years. We are just coming off in BC our largest year for amount of immigrants coming to our province, many of which have come from other provinces, and that doesn't get talked about a lot, is Vancouver tends to be a destination where people from other provinces want to come and live. Over the last couple of years, the theme has been people leaving Vancouver for affordability, in Alberta especially. From an international immigration perspective, what I'm hearing in terms of a feet on the street perspective is there are a lot of residents of China especially that were not happy with how COVID was being dealt with in their country. And now that things are opening back up, many people from overseas in China are planning to exit, and their number one choice for where they want to move to is Vancouver. The reason why immigration is obviously not going to stop, but the reason why it's such a priority for governments is here in Canada, we're not making enough babies to basically keep up with the workforce, the labor that we're going to require moving forward. So immigration is going to obviously continue to happen. They're going to fast track a lot of quote unquote skilled workers or workers that are in sectors that we need workforce in. So they're going to come here with well-paying jobs. A lot of them come already with financial backing, etc. So that's going to put some added demand into the real estate market. They're not all going to purchase. Some of them are going to rent. But regardless, no matter how you chop it up, this increases the demand for Vancouver real estate. So I expect that we're going to see a lot of the newcomers coming next year, and we're going to see that the demand is going to increase for properties in both Vancouver and the Fraser Valley. So having said all of this, we've determined that right now sales are down in terms of a dollar amount from peaks of earlier this year. Interest rates, it looks like they're going to steady out and the raises are going to slow down going into next year. Again, anything can happen, but I think there's more risk for the Bank of Canada to continue raising rates in terms of what it will do for the economy versus standing pat or sitting pat for a little bit. We've determined that a lot of developers are not pushing a lot of their product out. They're a little skeptical about the market right now, so housing starts are down. We've also determined that overall housing supply has just generally decreased over the last decade. And lastly, we've determined that the demand for Vancouver real estate is not going away. More and more people want to come to this country and are going to come to this country. So based on all of that, is now the right time to buy real estate? If you're someone that wants to purchase your principal residence for a long period of time, if you're someone that can further withstand increases in interest rates, and again, we have the stress test in Canada that helps make sure that you can do that. If that is your position, you're facing less competition to purchase right now, and I think competition will pick up next year. So in my opinion, an opportune time for you. If you're someone that wants to purchase for a short-term gain to try and buy something today and flip it next year, or even in the next 2 years, 2 to 3 years, I would advise against buying real estate. You should not buy right now, and you should continue to monitor the market. So I hope you learned something from this video. You got some value from it. If you did, I'd love it if you could hit the like button and consider subscribing. What that does is it pushes the video out to more people so they can learn as well. If you're in the Vancouver area and you need help with your move to Vancouver or its surrounding cities, shoot me a note. I would love to help you out. But I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video today. Have a wonderful day.